Keep the home fires burning. Part 4. A Soldier Returns. By Simon Block, narrated by Leanne Best. Chapter 48.
If Lakin thinks he can threaten me, he's got another thing coming. If he wants a fight, he's going to have one. On the telephone or face to face. The last thing Noah needs is more upheaval. I made a mistake by not trusting my own instincts and digging in my heels about not sending him away to boarding school. I shall not do so again. When preparing for confrontation, it was Frances's habit to rehearse her court arguments to herself as she approached the arena of conflict, whether that was the village hall and a WI meeting, or the hallway of her own house and a telephone conversation with Noah's grandfather, Maurice Lakin. This frequently saw her striding through the village, or, as on occasion, across her own lawn, muttering animatedly to herself, like a boxer, geeing himself up between the dressing room and the ring. Though she would often try to second-guess what the opposition might throw at her, Frances found it wasn't essential, so convinced was she by her own conviction and prowess. The child doesn't need any more pushing from pillar to post. What he needs above all else is stability, of location, and people around him. Enough is enough. By the time Frances picked up the receiver, she had pumped herself into an uncompromising mood. She knew the police had informed the Lakins of Noah's return earlier in the day, and saw little point in beating around the bush. "Mr. Lakin," she said, "I was planning to telephone you this evening to discuss matters, once I'd seen to Noah's needs." "Your maid told me Noah is already up and about, Mrs. Barden." "Such a relief to have him home, safe and sound." She placed some emphasis on the word home, to make it clear to Lakin where she believed Noah's home now was. "He slept like a log for nearly 7 hours, and, rather remarkably, seems none the worse for wear, though I dare say he won't completely recover from his odyssey for a few days yet. I'm mightily relieved, Mrs. Barden. Any other outcome doesn't bear thinking about. I've had to keep the entire business from Mrs. Lakin, for fear of triggering a relapse of her emphysema. Not an easy matter, I can tell you." "It was a tremendous shock to everyone's system, Mr. Lakin. When I think of what... No. The time for terrible speculation is, as you imply, thankfully over." "Is it, Mrs. Barden? I'm not so sure." "What are you suggesting, old..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?